All right. Well, welcome for those of you that are here live, as well as those of you that are going to be listening to this on the recording later. And today's topic, it's pretty vast, but I wanted to go into the wisdom of our own inner wanting and desires, but that's coming up because of this super duper new moon that is upon us right now, or it's in us, or it's around us, whatever you want to call it, but it's extra close to the earth, and it's definitely supercharged, even though you cannot see it in the sky. And this is truly my favorite phase of the moon, is the new moon. And it's about 3 days before, and then 3 days after the new moon, because that residual feelings still are going to really push you or take you deeper. So hopefully you can take some time in the next couple of days to reassess, revisit some of the things that I'll be talking about today. And I will have Chris join in here and there, and I will have Chris choose one person that I will do a mini reading on at the end. For those of you that signed up for my 2-day health intuitive call that I will be doing in March, as well as for those of you that are in Chris and mine, but it's Chris's Taking Your Seat program that's going on right now. So this super new moon is the final one of this year, and it's been one after another. So this is the third one that came through. And so this is supercharged for that reason. And it's really strong energy around start something new or get things done. There's a lot of like rebirthing kind of a feeling. And if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, even though we have snow on the ground here where we live, there's this shift in spring, the renewal, getting going, and motivations and movements. That's definitely, you can feel it in the air. Maybe walk out in the morning and get the morning sun, and you can really feel the difference in the sun rays, but the infrared is coming through a lot stronger for us. So I highly recommend right now to go out in the morning, first thing in the morning, to get some light in your eyes, on your skin, as much as you can, not just your face, but maybe legs, or, Chris and I were up in the mountains over the weekend, and we literally stripped down to our bare bottoms, or whatever skin, what's that called, Chris? And then nakedness, basically. And we got some sun up in the 10,000 feet high altitude, and we will just get the mountain wind in the air and the sunlight. So if you can even get something like that without getting police come to your house and arrest you for being naked, then I recommend that you do some of that as well. And this super new moon is going to really push you to come back, to ground yourself, but also get going on things, to, like I said, reassess, which we'll talk a little bit more about. But physically pay attention to your bones and connective tissues, hard tissues. So like teeth, bones, I would say kind of the joints of the shoulders, knees, those are going to not ache, but they're going to require some gravitational movements. So if you sit all day, you have a zero gravity chairs that you're lying back and watching Netflix all day long, that is not the solution for you whatsoever right now. It really needs that gravitational exercise. So maybe carrying groceries, put it in your backpack and then walk home, or, if you're not too far from your grocery stores, or park a little further out and carry your groceries to your cart instead of having somebody push the cart for you, or, leave it in the cart, that kind of thing. Those would be really good practices for you. And lots of, I would say, wonderful revealing is going on right now. Like, what is it that I'm committed to? What is it that I was determined to get going on this year? Maybe some of your intentions in January, beginning of the Lunar New Year was in the early February. Maybe you made some commitments, but that needs to be looked at again. And Some of you may not even gotten started on it. So this is the great time to get started on it. And Chris, if you're getting distracted by chat, maybe we should just stop the chats for a little bit. Okay. Yeah. I think if you could kind of hold off on the chats, everyone, I think it is very, very helpful for both of us, because I cannot multitask like that. I cannot read chats and think and go over my notes and have Chris chime in also. So if you could just kind of use this concept called wait. Why am I talking? That's right. Why am I talking? Okay. Is that right? Wait, why am I talking? Yeah, that's it. Why am I talking? Why am I texting? Okay. If you could just ask yourself that, why am I doing that right now? Is it necessary for me to communicate my thoughts? If not, just hold off. Okay. Just give it a break. Give it some space, because I think that's very, very important. And that's what is really also the new moon too. It gives it a space for us to go into the darkness, into the stillness, into the liminal, into the time of not always consuming, because we have created a society that is nothing but consumption of information. We're all here to get. And I actually, hear from a couple of my, I wouldn't call them clients, just like an email list. Some of them will say, hey, I really like what you're writing. Do you mind if I just share this straight to my community? And I never say no to that. But I think it's this like a consume and recycle and spit it out. That's just kind of what's happening. So you can absorb, you can taste it, you can chew on what I'm saying and what I'm about to share, but let it just soak in, let it absorb, let it break down into the elements, break down into amino acids, break down into the minerals, ionized form of minerals, break them down into ways that it will truly nourish you instead of just chew and spit. I was telling Chris that it kind of has become this Zoom world has become just a pure consumption. So it's like you went and did a taste testing for a wine taste testing, let's say, and you taste it a little bit and you have to spit that out, right? So that you can go to the next one, because if you consume all of them, by the time you do 10 little glasses of it, you're not going to be able to taste it because you're going to be already tipsy. In my case, after one glass, I will be tipsy because I cannot digest alcohol. But so you get the point, right? So let's not do the taste and spit and keep going. Okay, so if you can stay with it a little bit in kind of an openness and just absorb what we're talking about here. So I think that has come up a lot for this new moon, the super new moon, couple of days before into now, into the next couple of days, is that it's revealing a lot of the dualities that we have within ourselves. And I've really noticed that about myself too. It's this like, wouldn't that be nice kind of a fantasy? And then there's this reality of actually doing it. So these dualities, right? Tug of wars, like fantasies, wouldn't that be nice? Isn't this amazing? Wouldn't this be lovely? And then there's this reality of, well, then how do we do it? How do I get there? Okay. And the inconsistency and the commitment. So it's this, I'm going to commit to doing this. So I'll give you an example of this recent client. It's like, I've been working with her for a while now, a couple of years, and it's continuously is this waves of, I'm going to make a commitment. I'm going to do this. And she had one simple task, which was to finish eating dinner by 7 o'clock. She was very excited. So for the first 48 hours, she was so excited that she finished eating by 7 o'clock. It was really awesome. The third day slipped a little bit, but she was still there. So there's a 72-hour rule out there, okay? So when you participate on the weekend retreats or weekend rah stuff, okay? Like nothing wrong with Tony Robbins, but it's kind of that stuff, right? It gets so heightened. The energy is so heightened. The 72 hours after that weekend, including that weekend, so it's pretty good, you are going to be in that high, but you're going to come down from that high. Most of us will. Most of us will, unless you recognize that and say, I got to redirect myself and keep going with this. So basically, after about 72 hours of this, she emailed me and said, I'm doing so well, I think I'm going to stop eating by 6 o'clock. And I said, no, you're not going to do that. Please be gentle. Let's stick with 7. And she said, well, no, I think I could do it. I think I could do it. Then I stopped hearing from her because I made sure that she communicates about this because I've been working with her for so long. And we constantly slip at that point of the 72-hour mark. So I said, no, let's just stick with the 7. And I didn't hear back from her. And I waited a week. And I finally reached out to her and said, what's going on? She said, oh, I don't know what's happening, but I'm just snacking and I'm no longer, able to stop at 7. And I'm thinking to myself, that's why I didn't even want you to push it to 6 o'clock. Stick with 7. 7 is good enough. So find things that you are committed to doing. You made that promise, not to me, not to your friends, not to your family members, but to yourself. To yourself. That is the most, I think, the worst thing you can do, self-deception that you can have is to make the commitment to yourself. And then 72 hours later, you can't keep it to yourself. You don't need to prove it to me. Just do what's possible. And when I say 7 o'clock, finish your dinner by 7, that is, after 20 plus years of working with clients, that's about the time that most people can keep up with. If I say 6, if I say 5:30, that is a little too extreme in the society that we all live in. Okay, because we're not all lined up at 4 o'clock in the afternoon to do the early bird specials at a restaurant, right? So if you're going to have a social life, if you're going to have a real life, 7 is a good cutoff. Okay, so there's a saying in Japanese. I love this saying. I grew up listening to this saying. It's called Mikkabozu. Means lacking in endurance and commitment and focus after about 3 days. So bozu is like a form of a monk, Zen monk. Okay, usually like a beginning stage of a monk. So they were used to told by the elderly, older Zen monks. They will say to these youngsters that just came into the monastery, say, don't be a mikkabozu, meaning mikka means 3 days. Don't quit in 3 days. Don't quit in three days. So it's really important we don't become the literal translation is the Zen monk that becomes only lasts 3 days. Okay, we don't want that. We want to push a little bit beyond that point of 72 hours. And this is a lifetime work. So I want to give you an example of what Chris and I started doing. I don't usually do a cleanse in February, but I decided to do this because it was highly recommended to me from my mentor. And I wanted to do it before I brought it up to the public about this, to maybe guide all of you through, or if you're interested in doing something like this with me. But I like to always test it out on my own body. So Chris and I started a 15-day cleanse last Thursday. And it's a really good idea to start a cleanse. If you're going to do a cleanse, there are 2 times in the year that's really good to do. Okay. And if they can coincide with a new moon, that's even more powerful. It's usually about 3, maybe even up to about 5 days prior to the new moon. That's a great time to start a cleanse. And then another 2 times that's really good is equinox. Okay, spring equinox and fall equinox. Those are great time to start some kind of a cleanse. So I'm doing this. It's a little early because it's not quite the equinox yet, but we started it last week, Thursday. And it's doable because it's so simple. It's literally a packet or like a pouch that I take, and you're supposed to take 2 pouches, but I'm only doing half a pouch in the morning, half a pouch in the afternoon. And I'm just eating my normal largest meal for lunch. Sometimes I'll have a little bit smaller supper as a dinner, but we've been doing it since Thursday. And I think one of the reasons why we are enjoying doing this, and then we're totally seeing the difference with this, is because it's simple. Okay. So in order to avoid the 72-hour not Buddha, but Zen monk. Okay. Let's make sure that you choose something that you can take the steps for. Okay. And for your information, if you're interested in learning about what we're doing, I will probably, in about 2 weeks, I will come back on and tell you how the cleanse went. But if you're interested, you can always email us directly through our website. Go and click on a contact, and then you can email us and you can learn which one we're doing. It's simple. It's all there. All the supplements are there. Packets and pouches are all there. So I'm just really moving along with it easily, I'm not giving a lot of thoughts to it, and it's working. So, that's very, very helpful right now. Okay. So behaviors that I am seeing currently in terms of the new moon and what the new moon is really illuminating from inside out. Number one is this lack of direction, disorientation. So I'm talking about this through my own experiences as well as the clients that I work with and people that I encounter. I'm seeing more and more people who are feeling disoriented and lacking in direction. So that's the first D that I wanted to talk about. It's disorientation. And Chris, are we okay still?
Yeah, we're okay. I just posted up a message,
Okay.
just with the link to contact us. So,
Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So I'm coming back to the disorientation, the lack of direction that I'm seeing that's being really has come up since the new moon energy has stepped in, and especially because it's a super new moon. And it's that too many directions being recommended, and then the too many recommendations and too many hands working on you. So what I mean by too many hands working on you, I am seeing this, and I have seen this in the past also. So I'll give you an example of this past example. Some of you have heard of this example. So there was this lady that when I used to have my own office in Denver, this lady would come in usually on Thursdays, and we'll do some movements, and we'll start talking, and we'll be assessing the situations and whatnot that she was coming there to see me for regularly. And this was this one Thursday. I said, okay, let's sit down and let's do some of these movements and breathing and whatnot. And then I had her lie on the massage table so we can do some like a deep fascial work and then movements. And as soon as I touched her, I pulled my hands back and I said, okay. I said, what's been going on with you? What has been going on with you? And I said, so who did you go see on Monday? And she said, oh, Monday I had a chiropractor and an acupuncture. And then Tuesday, I went to see my Reiki person, and then I went to see a massage therapist. Until she started listing all these people. So I started adding the hands. So by the time I touched her on Thursday afternoon, 12 hands had touched her already. Okay. And I just pulled my hands up and I said, I can't do this anymore, because I said, just there are too many hands working on you. And you are getting completely confused in the body. There's just directions are going from all kinds of things, all kinds of places, all well-meaning, but it's just too many. Okay, so please understand it, because when you seek out too many things and you are perpetual seekers, like perpetual, you are signing up for everything, you're doing everything, you're all day long, you spend more than 2 hours on the Zoom, that's a seeker archetype that is coming out. Because then at the end of the day, you have lost your own directions, because every single thing you attend will give you a direction, including this, right? But I'm hoping that what I'm saying is going to guide you to direct your focus a little bit more. So there's a lot of confusions around, and I used to recommend way too many supplements, way too many lifestyle stuff to people. All these changes you have to make, all these things. And I could just see the person's like eyes not only glaze over, but they are so overwhelmed. The client was probably not going to even take one step, maybe one step, and gave up the rest and then felt miserable. So I learned my lessons over the years. I still tend to give a little more, because I also realize that person is paying for me, and that person may not have the financial means to keep working with me regularly. Although many of my clients do work with me regularly, then I pull back a little bit. But when I know that there's a financial restraint, I tend to say, okay, and then I record my session so you can watch it again. You can listen to it over and over. But I pack in about 6 to 8 months of things you can do in one session. Many of you will agree with that. Okay. But there's a problem with that because you can get really disoriented. It's just like I spun you in a playground, and then I had to get off that little playground thing. And then you're supposed to walk in a straight line. You're not going to be able to. Okay. So if you've been feeling like that, it's important that you discern what's necessary, but also be able to just raise your hand and say, you know what, enough. Like that's enough for me today. Masami, you mean well, but let's just start with there. And I promise you, I will keep in touch with you. Something like that would be a nice interactions that I would really, I want to welcome that because I know I have a tendency to give you too much. Okay. But it's a discern your true wants from other people's wants. Very important right now. That's what the new moon helps us with, is the discernment of your true wants and not all the other people's noise and all the other people's desires and wants. Okay. Second one is the distractions. So first one is the disorientation. Second one is distractions. Distractions that come in the form of constant Zoom calls, constant Netflix, gaming or Facebooking, Facebook comments, constantly needing to just show up. It's like, it's a pure escapism. Okay. Right. You're trying to escape the reality and that causes you to be distracted. So I do that when I want to be distracted, even though I know this year's my goal is to at least finish my manuscript for my first book on the living with the lunar cycles as a menopausal woman. Okay. Premenopause and menopause and postmenopausal woman. I want to guide you in this lunar cycles and help your body through that. That is the book I'm working on. But I escape that. I want to escape that all the time, everyone, all the time. And I read emails. I go and research some things. Ooh, there's a hormone stuff. I got to read about it in the name of writing my book. Okay. In the name of trying to get this book done, I get completely distracted. Yeah. So that was the super new moon was like this towards me. Yeah. Wagging her finger at me on this one for this weekend. So come home to that. And in order to maintain conscious presence and conscious connection with your true north, okay, the key is consciously connected and be present to your true north. That is the wisdom of your own wants and desires. You have to minimize and avoid distractions as much as you can, because they are energy drainers, regardless of their maybe sincerity, justifications, attractiveness, temptations. Maybe the person that is doing these calls that you're getting on, they mean well, they want to help you. But at the end of the day, did you get any of that wisdom? Did you get in touch with the wisdom of your own desires? Did you? I am not at the end of the day. I am not, because I distracted myself. Okay. Because I wasn't consciously connected to what I needed. And when you're not willing to cut through your own self-deception, and we can talk a little bit about the deception. Deception has a shadow and a light side to it. Okay. Because you can self-deceive yourself, or a deception to maybe make you think that this is what you want, and that would drive you to get things done also. Okay. So in the beginning, it could work for you, but the self-deception can be, you could be telling yourself a false stories that, oh, nobody wants to hear this, or nobody cares about this. Oh, I have it, I can get started next month, whatever, fill the blank. Right. So this is when you go to this side, this is when you lose touch with the wisdom of your own wanting. Wanting is very important right now, because, and it's your wanting, not other people's wanting, not your parents wanting, not what the educational system wanted you to do, or the government wanted you to do, but it's your wanting. That's big. That's really, really big. Okay, so we talked about the disorientation first, distraction that's causing you to escape what's here and what's here now. The third one is devaluation. And you might think, well, devaluation, what's that got to do with anything? But the moon energy, and I was sitting with it, and there's this idea of a dilution. Okay, it dilutes the potency of you. So devaluation comes from reducing the value of your own voice, your own life. So let's say the concept of weight, right? Why am I texting? Why am I commenting? Why am I talking? Well, you have to stop and say, okay, if I talk all the time, if I'm commenting constantly, if I'm on Facebook all the time, your comments, they get diluted. They get reduced in value. It just becomes a noise. Oh, Masami's talking again. Who cares? She's on live again. Oh, well, whatever. I'm just going to miss that one because she's just going to be talking again. So it's a balance, you know. It's like, it's important that I come on. It's important that I show up, but it's also important that I don't always give a live sessions either. And it's also very important to do that. So keep that in mind with your own self. Too muchness is definitely out there that's diluting the world right now. But also not enoughness is also feeding the too muchness. Because more you engage in these calls or different programs, this training program, you can become the best. I just saw something from the Shift Network, nothing wrong with the Shift Network program, but you know, how to become a psychic empath or something like that. And that's on top of 3 other courses they're offering this week. Dilution, okay? But behind that push for more courses, more certification, more this is the not enoughness. We don't feel enough. We're not enough. We're told we're not enough. So that is feeding into too muchness also. So it's just vicious circle. So somewhere along that wheel, you have to be willing to plug something and stop that movement. Okay. Too much information, too many suggestions, which I've already mentioned. But in that, we're all competing to not with one another too. Yeah. But there's a competition going on within your own voice, because you're having a hard time competing against all the external noise of what you should become and what should be, what your goals should be. That you can't compete with that noise and hear your own silent whispers, like tiny little whispers. Okay. Then that becomes really exhausting. We get drained. You know, it just, your efforts of trying to do something becomes exhausting and it's meaningless. And I hear this from a lot of spiritual teachers, friends of mine that I have gotten to know that do interviews and things, because there's so many summits and interviews going on that we are just getting drained behind all that. So, you know, we all need to manage our own energy. I just said no to 3 things because I need to manage my own energy fields. So I am not being drained by giving all these free talks, because it comes a point where what I'm saying has to have a value, an exchange of some kind, right? And I don't want to get to the point of a despair. Like I feel like this means nothing. It's meaningless. Yeah, I don't want to get there. I've almost looked down that valley and I saw that valley underneath my feet. It looked grim. And I don't want to go there. So, and I will wrap up pretty soon, but we can all access and pulled into, not access, but we can get pulled into the victimization, like feeling like you're victimized, okay? Or get anger and frustrated by it. Or like I said, just feel absolutely numb, nihilism, you know, just like, oh, what is the point in this? or you can get into self-righteousness. I noticed that about myself over the weekend. I actually texted a friend of mine afterwards. I'm like, oh my God, that was kind of self-righteous of me, you know? And I thought, okay, I need to not go down that road. I need to delete that text. I need to come back to my center because, you know, I just felt like I was getting too drained, right? So manage your energy level, manage. And I think that's why doing this 15-day cleanse, which I'm going to stretch it out to 21 days because I don't drink the 2 pouches. I only drink 1 pouch per day. So I'm going to stretch it out to 21 days. So I'm going to see how it goes, and I'll definitely let you know how it's going. And disengaging of meaningful engagement. Okay, so that was a note that I'm reading of mine. What happens is that when you get despair, or like you feel the feeling drained and nothing left of you, and you just feel devalued for what you do, you begin to disengage in a meaningful engagements. I hope that makes sense. That we get so distracted and we get so drained and disoriented that we miss out on meaningful engagements. So let's take a moment here right now, because the year of the rabbit is going to require so many times, like every day, moment by moment, sometimes once an hour. You have to kind of bring yourself back from that distractions. You really do, because the rabbits hop. Rabbits go to all kinds of places aimlessly because they're just going for what's greener, right? You eat this patch of grass, it's gone. You lift your head up and then go to the next patch of green grass. That's what ends up happening a lot if you don't bring yourself back to engage yourself in a meaningful way. So take a moment right now. I'm going to pause. And I'm going to pause for a few minutes, and then I'll hand it over to Chris. Maybe he has some things he wants to add. You can close your eyes, or you can just kind of look down towards your feet. And then engage with yourself for a moment. Have a meaningful engagements with yourself, 100%. You can even place one hand on your belly, one hand at the heart. Do your very best to not get distracted. Come back. And get in touch with the wisdom of your own wanting and desires. What is it that you really, really want? And it's hard to get in touch with your desires when you're out of touch with your body. So if you have one hand on the belly, just ask your belly, what is it that you want? What is it that you desire at the gut level? That reddish burning heat, the burning hot, warm heat that is bubbling up from the earth, the core of the earth. What is that desire that's coming through your feet, legs, pelvic floor, and into the second chakra, right at your belly? Stay with it. Just stay with that center. Become very clear and ask yourself, what are 2 simple steps you can begin to take to get closer to that star that you've been reaching for? Remember, the meaning of the desire means the star you've been reaching for. 2 steps, 2 concrete steps that you can take. What are they? Let the body invite you in for the answers. You're not shoving your mind into the answers. Let the second chakra invite you in. What wants that you have inside you, the desires that you have inside you, that is true to you, not true to me, true to other people, not true to the society, but what is true to you, not the conditioning of the society. What is true to you? And as you become clearer and clearer and clearer in these 2 steps that you're going to be taking, every desire and every want, or these wants, they have the shadow side as well. We can't deny it. There are always a shadow side to this. But if you're true to your wants, it's so much easier to burn away at the shadows when it's not true to you, true to your center of that core. The core in Japanese culture is the belly, not the heart, but it's the belly. The heart is the next step, is how you express using that center. So stay with the core, meaning the second chakra. Some of the shadows that may be coming up for you, maybe those 2 steps that you came up with, maybe they have some challenges that could be seen as the shadows. The new moon is the best time ever, and best time to work with the shadow side of things. We all have yin and yang, nothing to fear. We all are light, and we do cast shadows too. Find the shadow side. Are there areas that you need to be careful about? Oh yeah, these are the things that I need to eliminate from my day-to-day so that I can stay on this path, these 2 steps. Name them inside. Become friends with them. Let's take nice, long, big breath. All the way to the bottom of your feet, and then breathing out. And I'm going to hand it over to Chris for a little bit so that he can chime in. And I want to make sure I have enough time to go through one of the mini sessions. So.
Yeah, I just have a couple of comments to add on to what you've said, because I think those 3 Ds that you mentioned are so powerful, and they're so prominent in our lives right now. The disorientation and distraction and devaluation of who we are. And that third one in particular, I see that there's so much pressure right now on us to be something. And it goes along with this idea that if we can't be perfect at something, then that means that we're doomed to fail at it, or we shouldn't even start. We shouldn't even try. And so there's a lot that we have to pay attention to because of how much we're getting messaging right now that we have to do more, be more. And one of the things that we forget in that process, like Masami said, the dilution that happens, is that we forget this basic thing, the most basic wisdom that people have been talking about for thousands of years, is that the way to know the universe is to know yourself. And that's really it. And it's so hard to grasp the simplicity and the profundity of that statement, is that you have to know yourself. That means you have to concentrate, not dilute. You have to pull your energy, pull your attention, pull your focus away from all these distractions and back to your own life, back to your own processing of your experience, so that you're paying deep attention, you're caring for each moment. And so I think one of the things that's a struggle, and I know I have this struggle too, is that it's this idea that if we stumble and fall, that we're done. We're just not worthy to continue on the journey. It's so easy to pick up that messaging around us. I mean, has anybody else felt that? I'm just curious if it's just me. I've certainly picked up on that over my lifetime. But how can we get anywhere if we don't have a method of picking ourselves up. And I love it because, you know, from the Japanese culture, there's this little saying that it's associated with this character called Bodhidharma, who is known as Daruma in Japanese. And he's this little character that's often pictured with these big buggy eyes and no arms. And the saying in English is 7 times fall down, 8 times get up. 7 times fall down, 8 times get up. And the symbolism of that statement is fairly obvious. You have to keep just picking yourself up, because in reality, you don't really know where this path is going. And unless you stay on it, you won't ever find out. We were having a conversation this morning, and I'll end my comments with this, about this idea of giving things up or renouncing things. It's a really powerful process, renunciation. And often in our current culture, we have this idea that to renounce something means to completely discard it and give it up and walk away and then have nothing, or at least not have that thing anymore. But really the power of renunciation is in living through something, experiencing it fully, inviting all of what it has to offer into your life until you get to the point where you realize that it doesn't have the ultimate value that you once gave it. That's the point that you can turn and say, I don't need this anymore. I could take it or leave it. And that's where that power of renunciation and that power that you were giving to other things now comes back to you. So I will hold my comments there. And I know we had promised to pick someone. So Masami, I've got a list if you want to jump to that.
Yeah, I do. And re-listen to the part that what Chris just said about renunciation, right? It's deep. It's like we had to chew on it this morning quite a bit. So I would definitely rewind that part, because it's not about us becoming like a monk or, nuns or, just giving up everything. It's not that. It's so, I don't know. It's something that we're going to be discussing it a lot further in coming months, I think. So look forward to that. And, for those of you that are new to our work, I hope that this is refreshing to some of you to listen, that this isn't just some other, here's the new moon and here's the star systems. And, you just need to do 3 things and then you'll be fine, because, I only wish, really, it's that simple. And at the same time, this is the funny thing about life, is that it is that simple. It is as simple as drinking a tall glass of water in the morning and then going outside and getting the sunlight and going to bed before today turns to tomorrow. My rules are very easy. Eat by 7, go to bed today. Don't wait to go to bed tomorrow. Go to bed today. Finish your today, right? And get up in the morning, have a glass of water and get some sunlight. Really, it's so simple, but not a lot of us are actually able to follow that long term for the rest of our lives, so it's a challenge, but we will continue to reassess, I think, and reset. That's why I think the moon is very important, because each new moon, you get to replant this, you get to reassess again, you get to look at yourself again. So, the universe is all supporting us. Universe has not abandoned you, okay? Just so you know. It's all here in these grand orchestra, and you are part of that, playing that music too. Yeah.
So Masami, if I could.
All right, let's pick a person.
Yeah, if I could just kind of plug your program for a second here.
Oh yeah, I'm going to put a link on it, everyone. Please sign up. It's coming up in March.
And I just wanted to say, for those of you, I know a lot of you have been on various offerings that Masami has done, and you already know this. But if you haven't, Masami just has so much energy and love that she adds to everything that she does. I've never known anybody that gives so much care into what she does as Masami. And so this program with the health intuitive readings, you get to have a little slice of that love and care directed, beamed directly at you, and have that kind of fed back to you with a question that you bring forward. And so I highly encourage, if you haven't had a chance to participate in one of these programs, that you do that, because it has this incredible way when we're together as a group that one person's question has at least elements of other people's questions and what's happening inside of them. So we have this kind of organic group quality when we come together as a community, that what comes up is what needs to be spoken for all of us. So I highly encourage you to join, and many of you that are on the call today have already signed up. And so Masami had made an offering to do a free little mini reading for one of you, but I'm going to make another little ask here, and that is that if you would like to be selected, please turn on your camera, because then we'll know that you have given us permission to record you and to participate, because I've got a list of those of you that have signed up that are also on this call. But if you're camera shy, then it's going to be hard to know if that's something that you're willing to do.
I mean, I don't need the camera to do my work, but it's nice. It's nice to get familiar with the faces.
Yeah.
All right. Well, good. I love it. I love seeing windows of all of you. I get to say hello in different worlds and different parts of the world. Yeah. All right, Chris, you pick whoever. I don't know who you're going to pick, but just go for it.
Well, it's kind of funny, but it looks like the camera shy parts of our group today are also the same group that are on our list of people who have already signed up. So my idea didn't work at all.
Just pick one, Chris. Come on, at the time.
All right, I'm going to pick a name randomly, and please at least turn on your audio and confirm that you are willing to speak to Masami now with a question. So if you've signed up, you are now one of the eligible people. Okay, so here goes. I'm going to scan through my list, and I'm going to pull out a name, and that name is Rita Bowker. Rita, if you are
Rita, where is she?
I see her. I'm going to ask you to unmute, Rita, if that's okay. We're going to put you on the spot. And I know you weren't expecting this, but this is sometimes how auspiciousness works. So I'm going to
I think she was totally ready for this. Okay, there you go.
Hi. Yes.
Rita. You were totally ready for this, weren't you?
I was.
Yes.
Yes, definitely.
Well, welcome. Yeah, so ask me any questions you want. Like, so just so you know, it doesn't have to be health only.
Oh, okay.
It could be relationships, it could be your finance, your business, whatever. It doesn't really matter. Could be your grandmother. So
well, it is health. So I've started a journey towards bringing my body back to its healthy set point weight. And so I was just wondering if you have any guidance.
okay, so I'm going to be a little bit clear, everyone. Okay. For the health intuitive call that I'll be doing, you got to be a little bit more focused in your questions, because what you're asking me is everything under the sun. Right. So I could have just told you, hey, do those 3 things. You know, are you finishing dinner by 7? Are you getting sunlight in the morning? Are you sleeping today? Going to bed by today? Okay, those are the things I will tell you, right? So let's get a little bit focused in. And that will help you. That will help you too, to focus on your health, because I think that's, Rita, is one of your issues, is that you need to focus. Okay. Focus on what it is and what areas of your health that you need to be working deeply in. Okay.
Okay.
So that is also an answer, is that you got to get a little bit more like, this is what I'm doing, universe. Okay. Not everything but the kitchen sink. This is what I'm doing, universe. So what is it that you want to ask me?
Okay. So clarify then my digestion. I know I'm having problems with my digestion, and I'm not quite sure where to go with that.
Okay, so is it a digestion at the upper GIs, at the stomach, or the small intestine, or the large intestine?
Oh goodness, I don't even know that.
Okay, so this is where you have to get clear, right, on what it is that you are dealing with. Because the first step to healing is to exactly know what areas of your bodies are requiring your attention. Okay, so if it's upper GIs at the stomach level, you will often experience things like bloating, okay, distension, burping, okay, so it's more of an upward bubbly movements, okay. It can be indigestions kind of thing that will come up right at the upper, like more like a third chakra, okay.
Uh-huh.
If it's a small intestine, that will be an absorption issues. If it's a lower colon issues, that can show up as constipation, diarrhea, stinky farts, you know, you name it. So bloating and distensions at the lower gut is a very different than the upper. Okay, so let me see. You're actually having all kinds of issues at the stomach, small intestine, you're shaking. Yeah. Yeah, I got yes on at least the 3 areas. So I got yes on duodenum as well. And then I got yes on the small intestine. So your liver, gallbladder. Yeah. So you're having all kinds of things right at the band underneath your rib cage. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So are you new to my work? I think you are.
Yeah, I did your like 2 years ago when the pandemic started, I sat in with your like 5-week course. Anyway, yeah.
Okay.
For the most part, we'll say yes.
All right. All right. So then we need to get you started in digestion. Okay. So number 1, you need to stop eating by 7. Okay. 7 p.m. Okay.
Okay.
That's something you just have to do if you're having digestive issues. Okay. Energy is an issue for you too.
Yes.
Like, yeah, energy dip in the afternoons kind of thing. And even in the morning, you just have a kind of a harder time waking up in the morning kind of thing too. That's
Yes.
energy's, yeah, pretty low most of the day is what I feel from you. Okay. So, okay. Number 1, let's just go to the simple stuff. Okay. Which is you've got to start to take hydrochloride. Okay. Hydrochloric acid, which is HCl. So betaine HCl. And then Chris can type the ones that we use, but it's from Zorex. We use HCL Complete. So you take 1 capsule, which is actually a pretty mild dose, but it works really well for empaths and sensitives. So I love this product, but I just take 1 capsule, either in the middle of your meal or after you've eaten. 1 capsule. Okay.
Okay.
You do that with each meal, HCL Complete. Or you can get betaine hydrochloric acid of some kind. But the ones that I'm using are the ones that I've been recommending a lot for my sensitive people. Okay. And then this one, the HCL Complete, has the acid part extracted from apple cider vinegar. So it doesn't create histamine reactions or mast cell, disruptions and things like that either. So it's really easy to use. Okay. This is very different than the digestive enzymes. Okay. That's the first place you got to start. And yeah, you don't eat a lot though. You're not like a, eating kind of like a mass amount of food. That's not what I sense from you. Is that right?
Oh no, but I feel like I feel like I am.
You
I
feel like
always
you're
feel
eating a lot?
hungry. Yeah.
But most people don't eat enough, just so you know. Most
I
people
know.
have to, yeah.
I have a really hard problem getting to 1,800 calories.
Yeah, because I'm like sensing you're not even eating a whole lot. So it's the digestion that's so sluggish. You are hungry, but you can't even really consume it because then it just sits there and ferments and it just gets distended. It just sits there and it's slow and makes you sluggish. And, and then you just hate that feeling. So you're like, oh, food is just not, you have to do it, but it's not your favorite thing that you have to be like, you want to be addressing, but you need to be addressing. But number 1, you need a HCL Complete in order to start digesting that stuff. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yes.
Okay. So it's the first step. Yeah. And then stop eating in between meals, right? So no more snacking. That's very important. Yeah. Other things, so you're signed up, right? So we will go into a little bit more about like maybe digestive enzymes and things like that. But I would think, let me see. Yeah, you would benefit from taking maybe a couple capsules of digestive enzymes. I do use digestive enzymes from Enzyme Science from Full Script. You can order that. Or I use 8 times Pancreatin a lot from Zorex. That's also from Zorex. So HCL Complete, 8 times Pancreatin. They're both from Zorex. You can, you know how to sign up through our website, right? To get there, to sign up. It just go
No,
to
but
my,
I can figure it out.
again.
Rita, I just put the link on there. And if anyone else, if you're interested, we have a link for how to sign up to access practitioner grade supplements. You have to go through a practitioner for these. So I put that link up for anybody who's interested. You can also find them on our website under supplements, supplement orders. So you can use that information. I'll put these names in the chat too, so you don't have to guess how to spell them. Okay, so.
Great, thank you.
Rita, last question is that what did you used to do? Did you change your job or anything? Was there a shift there recently?
So I was stationed on a ship, but and I did that for 6 years. I was a permanent liveaboard, and then I switched now to where I work on the ship and work in an office.
Okay. When did the office work start?
2017.
Okay. Yeah, it's just there's like the shift wasn't, I mean, it was okay, but I feel like there's another shift coming. Like you can't be doing this office work too much longer. It's making you feel very stagnant.
Yes, I've felt that way for a couple of years.
Okay.
It's not challenging, I guess is the easiest way to say it, is it's not challenging for me versus
Yeah.
being out on the ship.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just, I really would like for you to challenge yourself and find another way out of that office work. Is it possible? Is it possible for you to get out of that? Do you have a?
I mean, I can go back to the ship, but that's why I left, was because I was at sea 8 months out of the year.
Exactly. It's not that you need to go back to the ship. It's something other than this office stuff that you're doing. It's making you so sedentary, number one, but also it's not who you are meant to be. You're meant to be like moving more. You're like a dancer. And it's so interesting because out in the sea, you're always moving. My brother was a Navy person, so he tells me how much things are moving all the time.
Yeah.
That's what you do well with. It's the dancing with the flow. And the office work you have right now is not very flowy. It's not flowing with you.
That's yes. Completely true.
Well, so I think let's fix your digestion first, okay? Get you nourished, get you a little bit more energy coming back in. The office culture, where you're living and working right now in the office culture, is not helpful in terms of like not snacking, okay? And eating early enough. Like it's not very conducive. It just kind of gets your eating style just gets bled into, like breakfast bleeds into lunch, and lunch is bleeding into the snacky time, and the snacky time bleeding into the okay, so you're nodding. So I think
yes.
So it's just all like watercolor mixing, like watercolor like this, but like watercolor blending into the next color, and then it's like that. So I want to have a little bit more clear cut throughout the day, which you have to have when you're on the ship. They're a little bit more strict about that. And then you actually thrive in a little bit more of that.
Yeah. Well, I try to keep with just 3 meals a day, but I end up getting so hungry.
Yeah. So number one rule is that you've got to start taking hydrochloric acid so that the food you eat is going to turn into a fuel.
Okay.
And if you're hungry between breakfast and lunch, then you didn't eat enough breakfast. Okay. And if you can't go 4 hours without eating, then in the meal before that 4 hours, you didn't eat enough. That's how you can start to monitor that. Okay. Yeah. But I
Okay.
think having a little bit more kind of a scheduled life, you do well with. Some people will be terrified of that. They don't do well in that kind of a world at all, but you actually thrive in that.
I do. I'm trained like Pavlov's dog, so that when the dinner bell rings, that's it. But the part, like you said in the beginning, in the morning, I'm just so tired. So the time that I wake up, I've tried to keep it consistent at the same time to wake up, but I end up being so tired that I can't do it. And so
Yeah.
my breakfast time ends up varying.
Yeah. So the varying isn't really helpful for your inner clock. You
Okay.
do so much better when there's like just a nice rhythm going every single day. Okay. And then
Yep.
if at breakfast you may not be hungry, that's because you ate your dinner too late. Then just have something small just to kind of get started. Okay. It takes about a week to 10 days for your circadian rhythm and the eating clocks to reset itself. So don't get too like, it didn't work out in 3 days. Remember, the 3-day monk is what we're trying not to become, right? So
Yeah.
try that for about 10 days and see if you could readjust. Make sure you're having some breakfast, largest meal at lunch, and a smallest meal at dinner.
Okay. And one specific question is, are eggs okay with me? I have a feeling that I shouldn't be eating them.
Yeah, no. I got no on that right away.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Raw. Yeah, I don't even get yes on raw eggs either, because a lot of times I get yes on the more of a raw egg yolks for some people, but with you, no. Hard boiled, no. Scrambled, no. Sunny side up, no. No. No on the eggs. Yeah, you probably kind of already knew that, right?
Yeah, well, I've taken out gluten and dairy and eggs. Well, I put the eggs back in because I need the protein. But anyway.
You have a lot more other things you can eat for protein. Right. Unless I kind of thought that I wanted to go into the vegetarian stuff with you, but I wasn't going to go down that road in this short talk. And you're not vegetarian, but
I'm not. Because my mom, I've been helping to take care of her. I've switched us over to a mostly vegetarian diet with adding fish and some chicken, like using meat as a condiment.
So chicken is not great for you or for your mom. So yeah, fish is kind of hit and miss, right? Because you don't want to be doing tuna and stuff like that either, because that's just way too much in mercury. So I would look into other sources of protein that doesn't include chicken.
Okay.
Yeah, chicken is really high in all kinds of nasty stuff, especially arsenic. So just avoid chicken. I'm not getting yes on it at all. And eggs are, I'm thinking, is this like a momentary? No. Yeah, no. I thought some people can get over the egg issues, maybe if they take care of their gut, but I'm not getting yes on that right now. So let's just avoid it just till you can heal.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you so much, Masami. I appreciate your time.
You're welcome. All right. So I think our time is up, Chris.
Yes, it is. And for
anything else to add? Any questions that we need to answer?
I think I've been putting some information in the chat. For those of you interested in supplements, we had a question about European orders, and there is a company in Europe called Energetica Natura that they offer a lot of the same products that we recommend, but we don't have an affiliation with them. And then if you're in the UK, you can check out Nutralink.com and mention my name as the practitioner. That just happens to be how we set up the accounts. And you can actually get 10% off. All of this you can find if you click on the link that I put in earlier, and I'll put it back in one more time just so that you can find it easily. But if you'd like to get these top shelf supplements that we talk about, and we'll continue talking about these as time goes by, so to be able to access them yourself and then know what we're talking about and be able to put them into practice, that's why we're making this information public. You can go straight to this link on the website and find out how to get these. They're really the best of the best in terms of the purity of the contents, the certification that is involved from the sourcing to the production to the packaging. So they're really the purest, cleanest kinds of ingredients that you can take as supplements. And so that's why we only talk about those And that will help you follow along and also have access to them. And if you live in the US, you will generally get a discount, especially if you sign up through our Fullscript account that you can link to directly on that page. You automatically will get 10% off every order. So just a few notes there, because we'll continue to talk about supplements. We can't avoid it in the world we live in today. So this will always be a component, and this way you can not feel like you're, falling behind on the information or how to get them. Okay, so
yeah, and we do our best to let the people in the UK and the Europe know which supplements you can take instead of the ones we take here in US. So I totally get that. So we will do that as well. And I always do that on my courses and everything. So when you sign up for my 2-day readings, two intuitive readings, when I mention some of these supplements and if they're not available, you can always reach out to me and I will email you, or I will make a point of listing them out too. Okay. So I will get into a lot more specifics during those 2 days so I can tell you which supplements or whatnot. But yeah, you got a little taste of what we'll be doing for 2 days, and hopefully you can join, not hopefully, but you can join. And then I will be taking some written questions as well, because some of you may not be able to show up for those 2 days, but don't worry, you can send me some written questions and I'll be answering some of them as well. Okay, so I think that's all we have. And I love Rose's, Rose sent us a little quote by Rumi, says, "There's a voice that doesn't use words. Listen." Yeah. So I think that's what we are here to do during the super new moon. So enjoy some of the inward journey, everyone, and find out what areas of your life that you're getting distracted or pulled away from your own desire, which is the star you're reaching for. And keep coming back to that point of inner wisdom of that wanting. Okay. All right. So we will see you soon, and we'll be back on a live call sometime soon. Bye, everyone.